My name is Margaret. I am 71 years old. I live in a small wooden house at the end of a quiet street. The house is old now, just like me. The paint on the walls is fading, and the garden outside is not as beautiful as it used to be. But once, this house was full of laughter. Many years ago, my husband and I lived here with our only son, Daniel. Daniel was my whole world. When he was born, I held him in my arms and promised myself that I would always protect him. I would give him a better life than the one I had. But life is never easy. When Daniel was only 10 years old, my husband passed away after a sudden illness. One day he was working in the field, and the next day he was gone. That night, Daniel cried in my arms. "Mom, will everything be okay?" he asked. I did not know the answer, but I hugged him tightly and said, "Yes, my son. As long as we are together, everything will be okay." From that day, I became both mother and father to him. I worked in many places. Sometimes I cleaned houses. Sometimes I washed clothes for other families. Sometimes I worked in the market carrying heavy baskets of vegetables. My hands became rough. My back began to ache. But every evening, when Daniel came home from school and smiled at me, I forgot all my pain. He was a good boy. He studied hard. He helped me in the house. And every night, before sleeping, he said, "Mom, one day I will take care of you." Those words were enough for me. Years passed quickly. Daniel grew into a tall, handsome young man. The day he graduated from university was the happiest day of my life. I sat in the crowd holding a small bouquet of flowers. When he walked across the stage, my eyes filled with tears. After the ceremony, he hugged me and said, "Mom, this is all because of you." A few years later, Daniel found a good job in the city. I was proud of him. But the city was far away. Before leaving, he packed his suitcase and said, "Mom, I will come back often. I promise." I smiled and said, "Just work hard and take care of yourself." The house became very quiet after he left. Every morning, I waited for his phone call. Every evening, I sat near the window and looked at the road. Sometimes he called. Sometimes weeks passed without a word. But I never complained. I knew he was busy building his life. One winter evening, Daniel called me with exciting news. "Mom," he said happily, "I'm getting married." My heart was full of mixed feelings. I was happy for him, but I also knew things would change again. A few months later, Daniel and his wife came to visit me. Her name was Laura. She was beautiful and well-dressed. She spoke politely, but there was a distance in her eyes. During dinner, she looked around the house and said quietly, "The city is a much better place to live." Daniel laughed and said, "Mom loves this house." I smiled, but I noticed something strange. Laura rarely spoke to me. When Daniel talked to me, she looked uncomfortable. After the visit, Daniel returned to the city with his wife. Months passed. Then, a year. Daniel visited less and less. Phone calls became shorter. Sometimes I wondered if Laura did not like him calling me, but I kept those thoughts to myself. One afternoon, I wrote Daniel a letter. My hands shook a little as I held the pen. "Dear Daniel," I wrote, "I hope you are healthy and happy. The garden is blooming again. Your favorite apple tree has many fruits this year. I wish you were here to see it." I folded the letter carefully and sent it. Weeks passed. There was no reply. I told myself he was busy. Then I wrote another letter. And another. Each time I waited. Each time the mailbox remained empty. Years went by. My hair became completely white. Walking became slower. But every morning, I still checked the mailbox. Not once did Daniel reply. One rainy evening, I sat by the window holding the last letter I wrote to him. Suddenly, I heard a car stop outside. That was unusual. No one ever visited me. I slowly opened the door. And there he was, Daniel. He looked older now, tired. His eyes were red. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he suddenly fell to his knees. "Mom, I'm sorry," he said. My heart began to beat faster. "What happened?" I asked gently. He held a bundle of letters in his hands. My letters. All of them. "Laura never gave them to me," he said with a broken voice. My mind went silent. "She said you were happy and didn't want to bother us," he continued. "She hid every letter you sent." Tears rolled down his face. "Last week, I found them in a drawer." He held the letters tightly. "I never opened them before today." My chest felt heavy, but I placed my hand on his head. "It's all right," I whispered. "No, Mom," he said. "It's not all right. You were alone for years, and I didn't even know." He cried like a child again, just like the night his father died. I helped him stand up and brought him inside. The house felt warm again for the first time in many years. Daniel stayed with me that night. He cooked dinner for us and fixed the broken fence in the garden the next morning. Before leaving, he hugged me tightly. "I promise I will never let you feel alone again." I smiled softly. Because a mother's heart does not count the years of silence. It only remembers the love. And love, once planted, never truly disappears. Sometimes life separates us. Sometimes misunderstandings build walls between hearts. But a mother's love waits patiently, even when the letters are never opened. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Silent Stories for more emotional journeys.